Right, and so here we have a case where, now if we look at this, many questions arise. Why would they, it isn't beyond the powers that be when you come up with this kind of information to want to keep you quiet. It then fuels more, what would I say, speculation about you. It provides your enemies in America, who seem to also, some of them seem to also be fighting the Jesuits, who say that, oh, he can't be true because he was a Muslim and he works with these people, he goes to Rome. And it fuels their fire, too, to say, well, look at what's happening. And then, I find it so amusing, too. Now, people have said to me, well, Greg's got to be an agent, too, because he lived in Italy and in Rome for 6 years, and that's probably what he was doing there. And, I mean, that's so much garbage. You can twist the story any way you want. And so people do it. Twist it, do whatever you like. But the point is, what I'm saying here is that it's very strange, the whole story. Now, if your wife was upset with you, there's a way to handle this story without going public, shutting down your computers and your work. So what that shows me is, why is this being aired out in the public at a time when you became very, very critical of some of the high-level Muslim leaders?
Yeah, and also be very critical of the interreligious dialogue. If you remember, the last interview we had with Phelps, I said that I didn't believe any longer in interreligious dialogue.
Right, and that's a change of position that you had, and it's just to me very interesting how this whole thing came down, and really. This is a way that they, looking at it from one side, it's a way that they can destroy you.
They definitely want to destroy me. They want to destroy they destroyed my family, now they want to destroy me. I mean, what do they want from me? I mean, they want to bring all these accusations that are completely unfounded and terrible against me. They want to construct a court case here in Norway, in a place where I have so many enemies. For them, it's the ideal place, So, I mean, I can only pray God that, will come in my help. But I'm surrounded by a bunch of very dangerous and evil people who are working against me. And they want to keep my child from me because they know that with me, he will never be brainwashed into their bigotry and their fundamentalism.
Right, so what's going on? Tell us where you're at now with this story. Has anything, have you been notified by the authorities again? Anything happening or nothing?
Nothing, just basically waiting with my lawyer for them to let me know if there is a court case, if there is not a court case. I'm at the same time I feel very damaged by the situation in all ways. I'm totally in disbelief of how they are operating and how also the police operated here in Norway, because my lawyer actually wants to press charges against them for abuse of power, because what they did was actually using and abusing the power. You see, the Gulen movement is involved in this interreligious dialogue, in which also we have the Vatican, we have the Norwegian Church, we have various ministers here in Norway. To have a person like me having those photos, knowing the story of what went in the background of this movement, it's a very big thing. I have information, obviously, that can be very damaging for the Gulen movement if I bring it out. In Turkey, a lot of journalists will be interested in that kind of information.
And I remember the last time we talked with Eric. The last time that we talked with Eric, the interesting point about this whole story is that we came to a conclusion that people in America who are Bible believers and people who are Muslims can work together against the Vatican. And I think what we see is that this whole story now with you has taken the real issues away again about really banding together against this force, no matter what religion or creed or color you are. And now it's turned into a soap opera for you. In a sense, they're getting a victory in that we have to discuss these things, and they bring in your family life, and now we have, an issue that is like far more than just, the issues that we want to talk about, and that is to stop these people from what they're doing. But it becomes basically a soap opera, and my question is this.
But what happened, for example, last year when I went when I went in November 2006 to Turkey, just after I started my website, I went to visit an exorcist with Kemalettin Suslu from this Gulen movement because they said that I had been, in a way, given some black spells and I needed to be purified. And these kind of people work very much also with magic. So they're not only working in the physical realm against me, you have to understand that, Greg. They also work in the metaphysical realm against me, and they know that if I survive this moment, I can basically point out on the whole pyramid, Muslim connections included, and become even more of a threat. And this time for them may be too much.
Yeah, and so because I think the point is we here in America at least understand a little, well, at least I know more people working on both sides of the equation here, and we can understand a little bit about the high-level leaders of our country selling out. But when it comes to the names, the faces in the Muslim world, Americans basically are, we don't know them. And so what do we do when we get one person like you to come out and start saying, we got to start looking at the high-level leaders here. Who are they really working with? And then it really pisses them off in a sense, because now you're including them into this Vatican equation that they don't want to be involved in, and the only way they can get control of their people is if they really stay behind the scenes, so they don't want to be exposed. And,
but it's easy for everybody to just go and check Fethullah Gulen and his visit to the Pope, John Paul II. I mean, that makes it very clear with Fethullah Gulen kissing the ring of the Pope, who is in control. The fact is, people might think, my wife was simply maybe a low-level player, but in reality, she was the daughter of one of the founders of this movement, so she had and she has a very important responsibility for them.
Right.
At the same time, prior to just before meeting me, she had been involved with another cult figure called Arunyaya, who is a very popular Islamic scholar who has some kind of underground sex cult going on for Illuminati VIPs from Istanbul. And he's also a very powerful figure, this Arunyaya, who actually was arrested 2 or 3 hours after Fatma was inside his villa. She left and he was arrested because he's a guy who is very controversial. And he's also connected to the CIA, and he's also connected to the Vatican Illuminati.
Right. And so here we have this soap opera story.
And he wanted to basically give to Fatma the council of the Saids, basically, because she's a Said of legitimate descent with a bloodline which is certified with an Ottoman Empire seal. She was proposed to become the head of the Said Council, which was like a council of the people of descent